like there's been this issue of not being inclusive. We are running a non-inclusive government. Could that have been the case?
Well, you see, Nigerians ran to restructuring because they had a failure of the present system. If everything were working very well, Nigerian, of course, at over 50, one thing that I've known is that Nigeria has always been one country, one united country, one happy family, that we don't care who rules us. Perhaps the moment we have everything going on well. You
said something, if everything was running very well. What do you mean by everything?
If we have had a good economy, if we have had a good health sector, if we have had a good internet security, if we have had a good infrastructure, Nigerians wouldn't have asked for restructuring because everything is working well. But because of the failure of the system, a failure of the administration, you now see people now say, okay, if we cannot get it this way, can we restructure? Maybe it will give us something that we want. So Nigerians become failures because they said they were not getting things well. And you see, it became louder. It became louder because at a point it's like everything was in comatose. Our infrastructure, nothing to write home about. Our health sector, nothing to write home about. Internal security, nothing to write home about. We just say, okay, let us have restructuring. Perhaps we'll now begin, if we restructure, maybe we would have had it better. But because, and that is what brought us to where we are. And I'm sure again, the same way it has rose up in 2017, it's still going to come up again in 2018 because already we don't have anything on ground to show we are going to have a better 2018. And this is why sometimes when I sit back in my closet, I feel so sad that is this how we are going to continue our life?
What are those things that you expect us to have that we don't have for first, you, that you feel 2018 seems worrisome or bleak?
You see, first I'll pick it from the economic aspect. If you pick newspaper today, you say over 4 million Nigerians lose their job in the first quarter of whatever, second quarter, then you see this thing. When you go to the banking sector, it's nothing to write home about. When you go to the telecommunication sector, it's nothing to write home about. When you go to the even tourism sector, it's nothing to write home about. Even the so-called agricultural sector, there is nothing to write home about, all at all. And there are no parameters, there are no structure in place that we say, okay, because we have taken a step, yes, it will get better. I will quickly use an analogy. If you are going to go to Ikorodu, first, I'm going to come to the studio. I live in Ikorodu. I took a step out of my house to get to the nearest bus stop, whatever, to come to this studio. But if I sit in my house and I said I'm going to go to the studio, I won't get there. So the government of this nation, the present government, has not even put anything in place. What we just have is rhetorics, talk about it, and there is no steps. If today you ask, okay, we are going to have a better health sector, is it with the 50 billion, whatever, that is budgeted on health or whatever, that we are going to have it? The present budget on education, is it with that we are going to have a good primary education sector? Now, they say if the foundation is faulty, you cannot have a better structure. Do we have any step in place that says that this government, they have put something in place that will make our primary education better? I went to a public primary school, Christ the King Anglican Primary School in Ajigole, Papa, one of the best primary schools. I'm not sure when last I've been there because I'm even ashamed to go to that place because I'm not sure it's what I left that I'm going to meet. Secondary school, I went to a public secondary school, Progress College, Agege, and I'm not sure it's still the same thing I'm going to meet there. I went to Awali Islam briefly. I'm not sure it's still the same thing that I'm going to meet there. So I am a product of a public institution. I can't even be sure that do we still have them. Go around and see. So if you're saying we're going to get there education-wise, what do we have? Technical education, technical schools. Do we still have the technical schools? Is it what we have? Those are not these things. So the government has not put in anything in place to show that we will get there. And that is why I'm even more worried that 2018 might even become, the call for restructuring might even become louder. And we are going into another process of election in 2019, which is in February. So you will see that from the first half, after the first half of 2018, we are going into politics. We will not be discussing governance. And that is what we have even been doing. Right from the day one that this administration came in. In 2015, we've not discussed governance. We've been discussing politics. And even everybody is faulty. Because even the Nigerian public today, if somebody is talking, if Bolaba is talking, they'll say, don't mind this red cap man. Say he's criticizing. And you see, this red cap man that is criticizing is not criticizing because of himself. Wale that is criticizing is not criticizing because of himself. Honestly, I have opportunity. If I choose to, if I have money for ticket today, I have opportunity to go to major countries in the world. Perhaps I will go and start again. Perhaps I will go and do whatever, and I will live a better life.
Okay, if we could just hold the thought, we need to take a short break and return to discuss more on this topic. Stay with us. All right, you're watching Standpoint, and we're looking at 2017 in review. All right, now I'll come to you, Bola. In the process of calling for restructuring, some said, okay, why not visit the 2014 confab report to implement the things that were agreed upon. But then people wondered why this government didn't seem to want to walk in that path.
Rabid partisanship and profound myopism, sheer rapid partisanship and profound myopism. You see, I'm beginning to convince Bola Oba not to support any party anymore in Nigeria. And it's unfortunate. We are running ourselves into the cul-de-sac that the American political system is finding itself now. A country that used to be very progressive, a country that used to be the intellectual leadership of the world. Partisanship has put America at the national level in an arrested form of development now. Nigeria is replicating the same form of politics, and it's sad, very sad. I won't touch this because it belongs to the PDP people. I won't touch this because it belongs to the APC people. Sheer rapid partisanship. I don't see the reason why President Muhammadu Buhari could not call for a review of what was recommended, the recommendations of the 2014 confab. I don't see, except the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari and Ashwaj Bola Ahmed Tinubu are just gung-ho about not wanting to touch that document because they didn't support it. Well, ironically, all APC states sent delegation. All APC states, including Lagos. So ego, partisanship, is one of the reasons why our polity is where it is. Yeah. And you know what? When you are so egotistic that you can't touch other people's good ideas, you will find yourself in a state of arrested development. Tell me what defines our polity now in terms of leadership.
But then this government tried to come up with a constitutional review or amendment. Okay, it's not, you're laughing. Wasn't that what it was?
It's not a baby of this government. In the first place, you see, why Nigerian is like this is because we lack continuity. For goodness sake, I think what I get to understand is that if you have a policy in place, if that policy, if maybe you have about 20 policies in place, if Mr. Hay has taken it to perhaps number 5, you come in, improve on that number 1 to number 5, and start from number 6, probably take it to where it is, and let us have a blueprint. We have never had a blueprint that has run for 20 years. We have never had a blueprint that has run for 10 years. For 12 years. All we do is that Bola Oba will come up with his own program today. By the time Bola Oba is leaving, the next person that is going to take over from him will just say, hey, that is Bola Oba. I don't want to give Bola Oba the credit that he started it. I will drop it. I will quickly make a reference to the PSP. Do you know that, have you noticed that Lagos is becoming dirtier now? Why? Just because the government came in, because somebody did not support him, because he did not like the face of the person that he took over from, Lagos is becoming dirtier. What happened to the PSP? I had to pay cart pushers to come and even move some refuse from my house because it was becoming an eyesore. That is to tell you, before now we have a PSP that if the PSP is not coming, I can pick up my call and call Oresoya, the Joresoya, who was the MD of Loma there. I can call up his second in command. I can call up the person in Ojota that oversees Ikorodu. And before you know, the next day they will come and pick up those refuse. If I notice some refuse somewhere, I will call the relevant agencies. Do we still have that today? Do you even know whom to call? Before now, when what was it called? It's a digress. Anyway, when Fashola came, he came up with the list of the telephone numbers of all the commissioners, of all this, of all that. Do you still have anybody that you're going to call today? Lagos is becoming dirtier because there is no continuity. And this is a government that is supposed to have continued. Fashola continued from Bola Tinubu, and that was why we had a better Lagos. Bola Tinubu came in, hit the ground running. Before Fashola came in, hit the ground running. Within 3 years, we were all clamoring for that this guy must continue in his second term. And that was why somebody like me supported TCT, the continuity team, Fashola for second term. And when they came in, most of the things that Fashola were doing that were good, they have dropped it. Honestly, it is so sad, especially in the area of PSP. Everywhere is becoming dirtier. The same thing that they have done. There is nothing wrong. 3 days before the handing over, Jonathan called President Buhari, handed over the confab report to him. What I expected him to have done is that have a small think tank committee, whatever. Say, please look at this. Remove the ones that you think we don't need. Perhaps the ones that you think perhaps that will move this nation forward. Bring it. Of course, you will be given the credit for at least actualizing it. But if there is no actualizer, you've not done anything. You just saying everything that your predecessor have done. You will not move forward.
Okay, let's move on now to the war on terror, Bola. For 8 years, Nigeria has been battling this Boko Haram insurgents and the likes, and the government has said, at some point said that we have technically overcome them. And then suddenly we begin to see $1 billion being designated to fight terror. But then how far have we fared in fighting this war, really?
I'll be a bit more generous to the president on the war on terror, not the war against criminality.
There are two different things.
Two different, yeah. It's about, I think it's imperative to accentuate the differences between the two. The war on terror, specifically the war against Boko Haram, has been largely won. Largely won. Because you must remember, and you see, it's easy to forget. We must all remember that there was a time when Boko Haram was controlling swaths of our territory.
Yeah.
Swaths. The size of Belgium at the point Boko Haram was controlling. And Belgium may be a small country, but I've traveled well enough between Belgium, Holland, and some of these. So I know that when an enemy power is controlling that much size, bigger than Lagos, about 3 times the size of Lagos, something was wrong there. Where we are now, I can't say Boko Haram is not controlling some patches of our territory, because a part of Sambisa Forest, which many Nigerians don't know, crisscrosses 7 states, including 2 other countries in the sub-region. They may not know that Boko Haram is still, but you know, the press and the media gloating is such that we have totally extirpated them. No, we have largely won the war. However, because Boko Haram has been decimated well enough in what used to be its conventional phase, even when it is a ragtag army largely fighting an asynchronous war, because it has been so decimated in what used to be its conventional methodology of operation, MO, now resorting to some more dangerous opportunistic targeting of soft standards, churches, mosques, schools. And to be very honest with you, there's no civilization that I've read about in more than the 5,000, 6,000 years of human governance that I've read that can cover all those places simultaneously. We can improve our intelligence, which disturbs me that our intelligence is still stepping 1 or 2 steps behind the activities, because at this juncture, we need to improve our civil policing infrastructure and have a more incisive strategic intelligence infrastructure. There seems to me to be a degree of laxity in those 2 respects, but I would be generous enough to say President Muhammadu Buhari has done a formidable level of damage. Sitting here now as somebody who campaigned for Buhari and somebody who was naturally a supporter of APC, I would not want to take away the credit that before President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was defeated electorally, he enriched our military so well. He enriched, or to some extent, he increased the assets of that the military could use to fight Boko Haram. So you see the power of unshaken in respect of progress. Yeah. Criminality, when you ask me that question, I will tell you my opinion. But they won't like it if they were to be watching this in Aso Rock.
No, would like to hear you.
To be honest with you, the president, indeed, all the security infrastructure or establishments of the country have failed tremendously in the area of fighting criminality. I wouldn't know what has caused it. Maybe the economic situation also helped to exacerbate it.
Okay.
But you know what? I've had to go and do businesses in Abuja and Kaduna. As I'm talking to you now, no respectable upper middle class Nigerian travels between Kaduna and Abuja on road anymore. Look at the proximity of Kaduna to Abuja.
Just less than 2 hours.
Now, in the past, kidnapping was not so much of an issue between Kogi, Lokoja, and Abuja. Now you can, no respectable, listen, a part of Ondo State that used to be, I could drive anywhere in Ondo State before. There are some roads now that I dare not. Between Edo State and Ondo State, there are some portions that I will never be in a vehicular object and let you drive me or drive myself. There are places I used to drive to or be driven to that I would rather fly to now.
All right.
So we have gotten to a point where we look at the case of Lagos. We got to a point where marauders and kidnappers were writing a letter ahead that we were going to kidnap students in a school, and they did it 2 weeks before. And the police told us that they reinforced the security infrastructure around that school, and ultimately they came and took pupils. So, and you know what? Those are the lousier acts of crime. There are some soft acts of crime that have culminated in making people to be living in sheer paranoia. My sister, sometimes when...
All right. We need to bring Smart in. Right.
Quickly, to contribute to this thing, taking the criminality aspect. I was once discussing with the Kabiyesi of Igbogbo. We were at a friend's birthday, and he came in there. We're discussing the Bado issue. I said, Kabiyesi, if to get to the issue of this Bado, Kabiyesi, you must involve all the ballers. You must involve all the CDAs. And he said, okay. I even sent text message to the sole administrator or local government chairman of, or council chairman, rather, of Igbogbo Bayeku, telling him giving him my suggestion. And I think KBC moved swiftly, and we must give that to Oba Kasali. He did a fantastic job. Within that time, he moved swiftly. We had a drop of the Bado incident. And, however, of course, because he also is limited, maybe...
Sorry, let me quickly say, there's a need for those who will be watching us outside Lagos to know if the phenomenon called Bado, a group of youngsters or cultists who will deliberately just go to people who are barely putting up a property in desolate places and basically kill them in very heinous terms.
All right.
Kill all the members of the family.
All right.
So like I said, the issue of security, honestly, the issue of criminality, if you look at it in retrospect in 2017, honestly, I will fail this government, either at the federal, at the state, at the local government. I will give them F9. They've not done anything. But however, we probably want to at least commend Akeomi Ambode. At least he took that step even though he was able to at least manage that aspect of the security with that bulletin that Fashola left. He equipped them the more. But even in him equipping them, he does not have control over them. I'll give a good example. Every evening I fight with those policemen guiding Oriwo College and Igbogo Model College. And several times I've tried to call Isaiah, their DPO. Sometimes it's not picking. When it gets to 10 o'clock, 10 p.m., these people, they are not guiding that school anymore. They are looking for Okada guys. They are looking for vehicles. They say, okay, park. They say, hey, what do you bring? They are collecting money, and I'm saying this with all authority. They are not even checking what they are doing again. The governor does not have control over the police. But however, we could have an internal security in place, but you also still need the police to collaborate with them. So in the area of security, we've not had it well. Honestly, sometimes, and that is why you see churches now filled up now. You see that in the 3 hours program, they are praying for 1 hour, they are praying on security. That thieves should not come to our house, Badu should not come to our house. Even, kidnappers should not come to our house. Now you are beginning to be scared of sending your 10-year-old child to go out to buy something for you because you are so scared of the internal security. I keep saying it, internal security is one of the easiest things you can put in place. If there is internal security, honestly, there will be security at the central, because from our little community, we know who and who. We have a community leader that we can report to, but we don't have it. And if we are saying it's going to be better, have they taken any step towards it being better? No.
We have what? $1 billion.
Yeah.
No, but then it's to fight.
Don't go there.
Why shouldn't we go there?
Why you should not go there is that if you want to see where the $1 billion earlier on spent by the Jonathan, or 2-point-something billion spent, go and ask Bade. Go and ask Bade, the former chief of naval staff, or the chief of air staff that became the CDS, chief of defense staff. Go and ask the minima.
Let me interject.
But that's what the government intends to do.
That's cynical, but you don't have the 1 billion yet.
Yes.
My sister, let's get practical here.
We don't have it.
A group of chief executive officers of our polity, a group of chief executive officers, governors, and the vice president sat in a room and did what I said was illegal then, and thank God I'm being vindicated now. I do a radio program every morning. And when I first said it, some people were calling and some people were not very happy with me. In this polity, under the 1999 Constitution as amended, the only authority, either at the local government or at the state or at the national level, that has the power to appropriate funds, that authority is called the legislature. the legislature. Now, I saw an army general coming to a studio, putting guns on this thing, saying in some other jurisdictions, in some other places, war is funded by extra budgetary this thing. Tell that gentleman to stop doing what some generals did for Jonathan and brought them to infamy. He should be thinking of his career. He should not mix politics with professionalism. He is a professional general. Okay, let him stay on the ball. In this polity, under the 1999 Constitution, no kobo can be spent without being properly. The process is as important as the point, or the process is as important as the project.
All right.
That our old vice president, a mentor to most of us in Lagos, an icon of the legal DC, could sit with them and do that. I shook my head when I heard it. That money is not in anybody's hand yet. So don't even let them fool our heroes who are fighting in our defense. The soldiers' welfare must be improved. They must be properly equipped.
Definitely.
But it must be done through the right process.
All right. Let us move on.
Quickly,
because
I think
we are running out of time.
We must also, still on criminality, we must also commend men, officers and men of the Nigerian police, Nigerian army, and all the military. Honestly, those people, they are doing a wonderful job.
Definitely.
Honestly, sometimes when I look at them, when I look at some few police officers misbehaving, I look at it in the general perspective. Perhaps they are misbehaving out of frustration. Go and ask, what is the worth of a policeman that works 24 hours, that will go and look for food when he's hungry, we go and look for water when he's hungry. This country, we are not taking care of our military men.
Those who are protecting
and those that are protecting us. And you expect those people to protect you and protect you very well. You put some persons in a place to say, okay, you guide here. You don't make provision for them to eat, morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And maybe when they now pass through to go and look for food, something will happen and you're not blaming them that the police. This is the country. Look, what is the welfare package for police? Go to most of our police stations. It's an eyesore. Oh, yes. Most of our police stations are not better off than the slums at Ijora and Badia. Yes. So, if we want to talk about fighting criminality, it has to be holistic. Oh, yes. We have to first of all take care of those policemen. Give them good distance. Let a police officer that is there guiding you be sure that my son or my child is safe. They will go and pick him to primary school. He will go to a good primary school. They will take him back. If he is sick, they will take him to a good hospital. That I don't have to bother about them. I don't have to collect about them. Let me just face what I'm being asked to do. When you go abroad, you want to take photograph with policemen. Do you want to take a photograph with any Nigerian policeman? Oh my God, Nigeria! I just hope it. Honestly, I don't see anything.
Let's move on. We need to move on. But calm down. Thank you. All right, now let's talk about the health sector. There are a lot of problems there. One would not be wrong to say the sector is in crisis. There is a dearth of doctors, ill-equipped medical facilities, and dilapidated structures. The wealthy and highly placed individuals seek medical tourism abroad. Even President Buhari had to travel to London to treat an ear infection. Yet when he came on board, he promised to fix the health sector and barred public office holders from traveling abroad for medical treatment. Yes, down the line, the problem in the health sector seems to have gotten worse, as at some point, the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, raised an alarm over the poor condition of the State House Clinic, despite huge sums of money allocated to it annually. Well, you've been.
No, because I just know you will not be fair to me. I was praying. This was one occasion I was praying that you should have asked my colleague here, honestly.
No, but I want to get your pulse on this, how you feel about the health sector.
Okay, let's get serious now. In your prologue to this segment, you would notice that there were some things you read out that in some other places would have been anathema. Our president was sick. Sickness could come upon anybody at any time.
Sure.
But we were reduced to the circumstance of our president having to fly 6,000 nautical miles away from our geographical space to go and seek to go and seek help. I dare say with a degree of conceit.
And it's not the first time.
I dare say with a degree of conceit that when President Muhammadu Buhari was in London receiving treatments, there were Nigerian medical specialists attending to him. And you know why? You know why? Because I lived in England before. I am still familiar with the with the United Kingdom health infrastructure, and a UK Secretary of State, equivalent of a minister, once told me in Whitehall about 14 years ago that if you remove Nigerian consultants, Nigerian doctors, Nigerian nurses, Nigerian medical technologists, if you remove them from the NHS, that NHS, if the largest employer of labor in Europe, one of the most respected health infrastructure on the face of the earth, that health system will collapse. That is how knowledgeable Nigerians are. We are not stupid. We just lack good leaders. Look, may God quickly give good recovery to the young man, the son of the president, who just had a bike accident a couple of days ago. May God quickly, give him good recovery. But you know what? Somebody was pointing it out to me yesterday, that Bola, don't you imagine it? The son of the president had an accident. They didn't take him to the State House. They didn't take him to the State House clinic that had been budgeted monies more than teaching hospitals. All the major teaching hospitals in Nigeria. That State House clinic had been given appropriations in the last 2 successive appropriation acts than teaching hospitals. And the boy had an accident in Abuja. They took him to a private hospital.
Where really are we getting this wrong?
Excuse me quickly. And
because we have to make good use of this time.
Do you know there was a reaction on the social media when somebody just said, "Oh, he has been flown out to Germany," and immediately when it was becoming vociferous, the government had to quickly come out and said, "No, we have not flown him out to Germany. He is still in Nigeria."
But my question is,
but your question is that the health sector has not had it better. And like I've said, it is still not going to have it better come 2018. Do you know why? We have failed in the foundation. The foundation is the primary health. The foundation is involving everybody in the health sector. Now, through NHIS. I am not a member of the school of thought that they said the 16 years of PDP was a waste. No. Obasanjo created the National Health Insurance Scheme. Where is a National Health Insurance Scheme today? I was expecting the government that would have come and look, the way Obasanjo has created it made it very, very effective.
It's still there.
It is not. It is not. It is only at the federal level. It is only at the federal level. Look, the girl that sells that oak granite or that sells maybe some of these buka we go to eat. The girls that serves there, they probably pay her 500 naira or 700 naira per day. What stops her from contributing 50 naira per day to our health?
Up to 50 naira.
No, let's even take that. Let's even say 50 naira a week or a day to our health. That if maybe God forbid that she's working there, she slumps, they can quickly rush her to the hospital where she has an NHIS, whatever. They can stabilize her and perhaps transfer her to a better place for free. You still see people calling
for free at the point of view.
Yes,
as the NHS is in England.
So we don't have it, and we now say it will be better. How would it be better? We don't have an NHS.
It will be better. I'm not as pessimistic as my colleague.
No, it will not be. It will not be.
It's logic.
It will not be. It cannot.
But it can be.
For it to be better in 2018, we would have started the foundation in 2017. Do you have a foundation in place?
Well, it's not too late to start the foundation.
It is not too late, but this government has not thinking. Look, take this year out. From next year now, we start discussing. They start discussing politics.
All right,
now see local government now endorsing governors that they have endorsed this. That is what we are going to do.
Smart. We need to focus on something else right now because we have very, very little time. Now we have to go to the issue of the fuel scarcity and the challenges we'll face in that sector.
Let me quickly say something. Do you know how I survived getting fuel?
How?
I now have girlfriends in filling station attendants.
It's going on the air.
Definitely, of course. I had to go and start befriending all those girls in this thing so they can help me to get fuel. I had to go and try and make friends with filling station attendants, filling station managers, so I can get fuel. That is how worse it is. That is what they have reduced us into. If you don't have fuel, if you don't have friends in filling station, you probably go and queue for hours, and maybe at the point it's going to get to you, that is when they're going to call it off. It is very sad. Are we supposed to, that the seventh producing nation of crude oil, that we don't have a refinery? The modular refineries that would have solved all these problems, the modular refineries are just there on paper. They are just there by rhetorics. It is not effective. It is not functioning. Is it not sad that what stops every state from having a modular refinery? Can we still pump fuel? Can we still pump fuel? Can we still pump fuel from Warri to Ore depot? When I was in school in Akure, if you go to this thing, sometimes if you are coming out of Ondo, by the time you get to Ore depot, you see trailers lining up to pick fuel from Ore depot. Do we still have Ore depot functioning? No. Do we still have this thing functioning? Do we still have it? I mean, you see, I feel so sad. I thought we could amend this thing by saying, not even 2017 in retrospect, let us take the advent of the present administration from 2015 to now. Have Nigeria had it good? No. The president, the Buhari that I, Smart Oluwole, voted for, campaigned for. I can't remember of any of this thing. I printed T-shirts, I printed banners, I printed so many things for President Muhammadu Buhari, and I've been supporting him. The only time I did not support him was when I supported Ribadu, because he didn't come out then. But take it as that. Because that guy has a pedigree, and I thought he was going to replicate this, he was going to continue the same thing. But the Muhammadu Buhari that we have, that I voted for, is not the Muhammadu Buhari that we had. And that is why, and today, people are not even looking at it from that angle. They are beginning to even encourage him to continue in that, like, continue with what?
Okay, now we are not talking about continuation. We are looking at the issues 2017 in
2017, look, the fuel this thing, Nigeria, we don't have problem. We should not have cause.
We shouldn't have this kind of issues.
Honestly, we shouldn't have it at all. It has become a recurring decimal that whenever any major festival is coming, we are probably going to face with some scarcity. We should not have it. For goodness sake, it is because of lack of effective management, lack of effective planning, lack of vision in our leadership that we are beginning to have all this.
Okay. Now, because we have very short time and we need to look forward economically, Nigeria came out of a recession, as it was said. You don't share the same view, Bola, that Nigeria came out of the recession?
Oh, technically we came out. Everything in this dispensation is technical. Technically we came out of recession because the world oil prices started going up. And that is what has triggered the fuel scarcity now. You see, Nigerians, when you are doing a study of something, don't be myopic. Take a global look. We came out of recession largely not because of the competence in management of our political and economic leaders, but because by sheer happenstance, the international price of a barrel of crude oil started going up from when Buhari came in, when it was 28, and some arrogance in governance made some people not to quickly yield to economic counsel given to the president for the foreign exchange regime to be liberalized, and as a result of lack of faith in people, and people moved out more than 100 billion US dollars away from this economy. We went into recession as a result of misgovernance. We are coming out of it as a result of sheer luck by God. The sheer luck that is now increasing our reserve is also the cause of the crisis. That is why the government has not owned up that it is now paying subsidy, because the landing cost of fuel now per litre is about 170, 175.
According to Barrow.
170, 175, and we are still buying at 145. When the price of international price of oil was low, it was on Kiduri. So my sister, I'm sitting there not as pessimistic as my brother.
As we look forward to 2018. As we look forward
into 2018, my deemed optimism is based on the fact that something could change. And the change must start from the leadership. Baba must be a bit more agile. Baba must be a bit more
decisive,
engaging, decisive, intellectually and otherwise. Because, you know, when President Buhari first came into power, there was a authors of positive this thing by NEPA, and people were saying just by body language.
Yes.
Body language sometimes, when it is done appropriately, using the bully pulpit of that hallowed office, could make a lot. So I will not be totally pessimistic because of that. But I'm not saying that the logic of my brother here is not sound. All
right, your final take quickly, because we need
my final take is that, quickly, my advice to Nigerians, please, currently, there is this INEC voters registration that is going on. If you have not registered, please go and register at your local government INEC office. Please have your voters card and ensure that at least, and you get your PVC, and ensure that, look, don't sit down at home, say your vote will not count, your vote will count.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show. Well, that's the much we can take on the show for today. Many thanks for watching, but thanks for your contribution. Remember, you can watch a repeat of the show tomorrow by 7 a.m. on this same channel. 2017 has been a great and eventful year. Let's do this again in 2018. Happy New Year in advance to you all. Enjoy your weekend.